Welcome to IELTS Wordcraft. Today, we're going to practice 20 new IELTS words and phrases. Let's get started.
Our first word is alternative. Simply put, this means another choice or possibility. Let's look at the examples. We need to find an alternative solution. Or, if the train is full, we need an alternative way to get there. And, studying online is a good alternative to attending classes in person. Now here's a quick pro tip for you. A really common grammar pattern you'll want to use in your writing and speaking is an alternative to something. All right, let's bring up our next word, which is consider. This means to think carefully about something before making a decision. For instance, you should consider all your options before deciding, or I'm considering moving to another city. And IELTS students should consider both sides of an argument. The absolutely crucial point here is the grammar structure. You always want to use consider plus a noun or an ing verb. So you'd say, consider moving abroad, not consider to move abroad. Moving right along to critical. This literally means extremely important or necessary. Let's check out the examples. Good communication is critical in the workplace. Time management is critical when preparing for an exam. It is critical to understand the instructions before starting. Just keep in mind that critical can also mean very serious, and that depends entirely on the context of the situation. Now, what's kind of funny about this next word is how often we face it in our own lives, and we all know how stressful it can be. The word is dilemma. A dilemma is just a difficult situation where you have to choose between two or more options. For example, I faced a dilemma about whether to study or work abroad. Choosing between the two jobs was a difficult dilemma, and many students face the dilemma of working while studying. The absolute simplest way to remember this, just think of it as a really difficult choice. Okay, let's look at hesitate. To hesitate is to pause because you are unsure about what to do. Here are the examples. Don't hesitate to ask questions. I hesitated before accepting the job. She hesitated because she wasn't sure which option was better. I really want to emphasize that first example for you. Between you and me, don't hesitate to ask is a bit of an insider secret. It's an extremely common phrase in English that will make your professional emails or customer service messages sound incredibly natural. And you know, that brilliantly illustrates our next word, options, which simply means different choices that you can make. We have several options. What are my options if I miss the deadline? I compared all my options before choosing a university. A really quick tip here. Options is usually plural when you're talking about having different choices available to you. That leads us perfectly into preference. A preference is something you like or choose more than another thing. My preference is to study in the morning. Everyone has different food preferences. My personal preference is living in a quiet area. If you want to sound super natural when you're speaking, try using the common pattern, my preference is, and then just follow it up with your choice. Okay, let's dive into receive. This means to get something that someone gives, sends, or provides. I received an email from my university. Did you receive my message? I received my IELTS results last week. Now here is a very, very important tip. Don't confuse receive with accept. You receive something when it passively comes to you, whereas accepting it is an active choice you make. Let's imagine a new scenario. A scenario is a possible situation or set of events. Let's read through the examples. Let's imagine a different scenario. In this scenario, the company would lose money. What would you do in that scenario? This word is immensely useful for exams like the IELTS, especially when you need to discuss hypothetical situations or imagine future possibilities. You know, a lot of learners ask me about this next one, struggle. This means to have difficulty doing or dealing with something. Many students struggle with pronunciation. I used to struggle to understand fast English. Some people struggle to balance work and family life. Pay really close attention to the prepositions we use here. The natural patterns are to struggle with something or to struggle to do something. Let's look at tension. Tension is a feeling of stress or disagreement between people or groups. There was a lot of tension between the two teams. Long working hours can create tension in the workplace. The argument created tension between the coworkers. A highly natural way to use this in a sentence is with the phrase, there is tension between, and then name your two people or groups. Moving right along, let's look at uncertain. If something is uncertain, it is simply not known, decided, or clear. The future is uncertain. I'm still uncertain about my plans. The exact date of the meeting is uncertain. When you're talking about your own personal feelings of doubt regarding a specific thing, use the structure uncertain about plus a noun. For example, I'm uncertain about my decision. Now, here is an incredibly important word, whether. It's used when talking about two or more possibilities. I'm not sure whether I should go. We need to decide whether to stay or leave. I don't know whether I'll study abroad next year. Guys, this is a highly useful tool for the IELTS exam. I strongly recommend practicing the common structure, whether A or B, to really give your speaking score a boost. Here is a fantastic word for your formal writing, worthwhile. If something is worthwhile, it is worth the time, effort, or money you spend on it. Let's look at the examples. Learning another language is worthwhile. I think the course was worthwhile. Volunteering can be a worthwhile experience for young people. It is very similar in meaning to worth it, but worthwhile acts as a slightly more formal version. Moving into some key phrases now, we have based on. This means using information, facts, or experience as a reason for something. Based on my experience, I would choose the first option. Based on the results, we need to change our plan. Based on what I've seen, the city is a good place to live. This phrase is absolutely excellent for IELTS because it smoothly helps you introduce evidence or personal experience into your answers. Next up is the phrase, it depends on. We use this when the answer changes according to the situation or conditions. It depends on the person. Whether I study abroad depends on my financial situation. Now listen to this short exchange. Is city life better? Well, it depends on your lifestyle. This one is extremely useful for answering complex questions, especially in IELTS Speaking Part 3, where there isn't always one simple, easy answer. When you want to say instead of, you can use rather than. I prefer walking rather than taking the bus. Many people work from home rather than commute every day. I'd rather study in the morning rather than stay up late. You should use this phrase whenever you're comparing two choices or actions to show which one you actually prefer. Let's look at the phrase, it's worth it. This means something is worth the time, effort, or money you spend on it. The course is expensive, but it's worth it. Learning English takes time, but it's worth it. The journey was long, but the experience was worth it. Remember earlier when we talked about worthwhile? Well, here is a secret. Worth it is the high-frequency phrase you are going to hear constantly in everyday casual conversation with native speakers. Next, we have getting better or getting worse, meaning improving or becoming less good. My English is getting better. The traffic is getting worse. I think my pronunciation is getting better with practice. I absolutely love this one because it's just a beautifully natural, everyday way to describe how something changes over a period of time. And our final phrase for today is, that's the thing. This is used to introduce the main or important point about a situation. Listen to how the tone shifts in these conversational examples. Why don't you just move? That's the thing. I can't afford it. Why don't you study every day? That's the thing. I don't have enough free time. The job sounds great, but that's the thing. The salary is quite low. Use this when giving an important reason or naturally explaining a problem in conversation. Now let's see these words and phrases in action through a short story. Barnaby, Maya, and Leo were sitting in a cafe when Barnaby suddenly announced, I have a dilemma. Maya looked up from her coffee. That sounds serious. I have two options. I can either buy a new laptop or go on vacation. Leo immediately said, vacation. Barnaby frowned. That's your professional advice? Absolutely. Maya laughed. You should consider what you actually need. Barnaby sighed. My laptop is getting worse, but my mental health is also getting worse. Leo pointed at him. See? Vacation. Barnaby hesitated. I'm still uncertain. Maya asked, what's your preference? I prefer traveling. Then why not travel rather than buy another expensive laptop? Barnaby looked at his broken computer. Because I need the laptop for work. Maya nodded. That's the thing. You need to think about both. Barnaby suddenly had an idea. What if I buy a cheaper laptop and take a shorter trip? Leo smiled. Now we're talking. Barnaby opened his phone. Based on my bank account, I can afford it. Maya laughed. That's a very important piece of information. Barnaby started searching for flights. It depends on the price, though. A few minutes later, he found a cheap flight. I can receive the new laptop tomorrow, and the trip is next month. Leo gave him a high five. Perfect. Barnaby smiled. This could be a great scenario. Maya nodded. And improving your work situation while taking a short break could be worthwhile. Barnaby looked at the price. Wow, It's not cheap. Maya smiled. If the trip makes you happy, it's worth it. Barnaby stood up. Okay, I'm going to book it. Then he stopped. Wait, should I really do this? Leo sighed. Barnaby, you're doing it again. What? You always struggle to make simple decisions. Barnaby laughed. True. Maya picked up her bag. Just remember, choosing between two things doesn't always mean one is completely right and the other is completely wrong. Barnaby nodded. That's actually pretty useful. Leo stood up. Great. Now let's leave before Barnaby finds another alternative. Now, let's test your knowledge with a quick quiz using these words and phrases. Question 1. Before making an important decision, you should blank all the possible choices. A. Receive. B. Consider. C. Hesitate. D. Struggle. The correct answer is B. Consider. Let's try question 2. I'm not sure blank I should accept the job or continue studying. A. Whether. B. Critical. C. Worthwhile. D. Scenario. The correct answer is A. Whether. Moving to question 3. Is studying abroad better than studying at home? Blank. It depends on the person's goals and financial situation. A. Rather than. B. Based on. C. That's the thing. D. It depends on. The correct answer is D. It depends on. Question 4. Learning a new language can be difficult at first, but the experience is definitely blank. A. Uncertain. B. Critical. C. Worthwhile. D. Alternative. The correct answer is C. Worthwhile. And our final question. Question 5. The course was expensive, but I learned a lot from it. In the end, blank. A. It's worth it. B. Whether. C. Tension. D. Preference. The correct answer is A. It's worth it.
If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe.